sometimes it'll interfere with you how it conducts. So I just chop fingers off of the gloves. I'll take each one and kind of wrap these up. Put a glove over it.
Oh, that's a smart idea, yeah.
And then do the next one. And then I put a 2x2 or 4x4 between them and tape them down. And then I also do one of these things where I coil 2 or 3 times, so if somebody does get a little rambunctious and gets out of bed, at least you have a little bit of leeway before we get down to the wires. Trying to think. You can hang these up from the ivy pole to keep them out of the way, and that's sometimes a good thing to do. Trying to think if there's anything else. If you have it off, you have to push the off button twice for it to turn off. That's a safety measure. If you have it on, it goes on automatically after one push. If your battery runs out, now we recommend that you check your battery. If there's no battery that comes up on your screen, then your battery's good. But I usually tape a battery on the back so it's right there if I need it. And if for some reason you have somebody that's pacemaker dependent and your battery runs out, if you have it right there, you can take the battery out of this and you can see it'll still pace for about 15 seconds while you change out. So you don't have to worry about a pause. You just put the new battery in and you're good to go. I recommend you look because these don't alarm when the batteries are run out. They just turn off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's no backup alarm. You just have to what I usually do is the beginning of the shift and at the end of the shift, for sure, I check the battery status. And it'll show you if it's getting low, and usually it'll have about a day or so before it actually, when it shows up, before it runs out. Okay. Anybody have any questions about this, first of all? It's pretty straightforward. It's just, if you're not using it a lot, it gets difficult.
Which one was the ground? So now I know
The
it's
ground
the
always
wire
has
at the bottom.
yeah.
Always the longer one?
Not, well, it should be. I'm not always going to ever say always, you know, because that's the one time. The other thing is, too, is if you have nothing but pacing wires, say you have 2 ventricular wires and nothing else, you can use one of the ventricular wires as your ground. It's okay. And use the other one for your pacing, and you look up there, it's not doing right, switch them. Okay? Say, the only thing I don't want you to do is take a ground from the ventricular side and use an atrial wire with it. If you start crossing the streams, it's sort of like Ghostbusters. It just doesn't work good, so just avoid that. If you just have one wire and nothing else, you can even put a needle in and out of the skin and clamp your ground to that, and that will act as your ground. So you can always do something. They never will come out with just one wire. They usually have at least 2. So if one doesn't work, just switch. Okay, the only thing, like I said, you can just about do any combo with these pacing wires. The only thing you can't do is pace off the ground.
Because then you're pacing the patient, and that would hurt a lot.
Pace the skin, yeah, and you'll see that sometimes you'll even see the skin twitch, and the patients hate it.
Yeah.
And by the way, sometimes the patients can even feel it if it's connected appropriately. They'll be aware of it. And the only thing you can do in that case is check your milliamps and watch the patient. You can try to decrease your milliamps until he's comfortable. If he loses capture when he's comfortable, then that's not good. You're just going to have to say, I'm so sorry, but you need this right now, and that's the best I can do. Okay? So the new ones, just in case, because I know they are going to come up here, it's by the same company. There's just an update. They're mainly the same. They are also on YouTube if you ever want to look it up too. But you turn it on up here. It's again 1. And that's the major change, is how to turn it off. And the way you turn it off after it gets started up here, it again goes rate of 80 automatically. The dials are here for all of the MAs and everything. This locks it or unlocks it. The way you turn it off is, again, you push this button here, and it'll tell you turn device off, turn off to the little arrow. So you go to the arrow, and that turns it off.
Instead of power arrow.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the main difference with the 2 of them. Anything else, if you have a patient that just doesn't seem, like I said, to be pacing right, even though you've done all this, it means going into the bottom menu part, and that's a little bit more detailed, and you're probably not going to remember it anyway, so just give us a call. Sometimes it's a sensitivity issue. We can change the sensitivity around. By the way, Darlene and I put on a lot of classes. You all are always welcome to come.
When is the next class?
We have a critical care course that's coming up in